Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How y'all doing? Well, this morning Miss V is back in the kitchen. And this morning I'm going to be making my little sweet mama. She want her some seafood. So I'm going to make my drop biscuits because I'll be making drop biscuits to go along with that and making her some good old hot creamy buttery grits. And we're going to just put that. Then I'm going to put that seafood, that curry seafood, right on top of those grits. Baby, it's going to be good. All right, so let's get to it with those biscuits. Okay, so we're ready. Got everything I need for my biscuits. In this bowl, I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. That's plain flour because self-rising and all-purpose for our non-bakers out there, it's totally different. So if you use this all-purpose flour and you don't add you some salt, and this is baking soda in here. If you don't add that to it, you're going to have something that you don't even want to eat. So now this is salt. In this flour, I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt. I'm measuring this for the sake of everybody, but normally I don't do a whole lot of measuring. Okay, that's about a teaspoon of salt. Just sprinkle it over there. Now, this is baking soda, not the baking powder. Let's see what size this is in here. Okay, this is baking soda, and that's a teaspoonful of baking soda. Now, if you're using baking powder and baking soda, it's going to be different because baking soda, like Arm & Hammer, that's baking soda. They have off-brands too. Baking soda is 3 times stronger than the baking powder. So if you put 3 teaspoons of baking powder in your biscuits, it's going to be too much. So now just take your fork and just kind of stir that around in there. People like to sift theirs, but Miss B not going through all of that because I make sure that my flour is loose when I put it in my cup to measure it. I don't just pack it in because that'll change the whole texture and flavor because you'll have more than 3 cups if you just pack it in there really tight and hard. So you just put it in there loosely, 3 cups of flour, teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of baking soda. Now right here in the middle, I'm just going to make me a little circle right there. See that? Now I like to add Crisco. I like adding Crisco to different things that I cook. Now that Crisco going to make a difference too in your biscuits. That probably was about 1/4 of a cup of Crisco. Now something that I do a little bit different with my biscuits is I add a little bit of mayonnaise. Not much. I got a jar right here that's already open though. So see, I'm putting that right in with that Crisco, the oil, because I'm going to start mixing that up all together. So that probably was a good tablespoonful of Crisco. Not the Crisco. That was probably a good tablespoonful of mayo. Okay. And something else I'm going to add in here. I would have normally added it with the flour before I put my oil. It's like a teaspoon, not even quite a teaspoon, maybe about 1/2 teaspoon of sugar. So now just sprinkle that right around the edges there. But if you remember, add it in when you're putting in your salt and your baking soda. Add your little teaspoon of sugar. About from about 1/2 to a full teaspoon of sugar. If you put a full teaspoon in there, it's not going to hurt a thing. Okay? Stir that around. So now we're going to start mixing that up. You don't have to use what I'm using. I use this for potatoes and everything. I just want to get that oil and that flour kind of incorporated in there together. And something else I like to use in my biscuits is just a little bit of sour cream, not much. It's probably about a tablespoonful. See that? Now you don't have to use the sour cream and you don't have to use the mayonnaise. But I'm going to show you what you really need to use that's going to make a difference in just a minute. That sour cream and that mayonnaise, it just kind of give it an extra little oomph that I like. Got a fork now. I'm going all the way down to the bottom, around those edges. Because I just want to make sure that my flour, my Crisco, my mayonnaise, and my sour cream, I want all of them to get together and shake hands in this bowl before I add anything else. I want all of them to get in there and be friends with each other. Just mix all in there. Yeah. Okay. So now, what I do love in my biscuits is buttermilk. Okay? So even if you got buttermilk and it's out of date, you can still use that buttermilk in bread. It's not going to do it a bit of harm. Okay, so now I'm going to start adding my buttermilk. Let me shake that up. You don't want it as soupy as pancakes. But you think about children Play-Doh, probably about that consistency. Because you don't want it to run when you put it on your baking sheet either. So that Play-Doh, or that silly putty that the kids like to play with, probably about the consistency of that, because I'm not measuring my buttermilk. And at the end, I'm just going to put just a little bit of regular milk. Now this is 2% milk, but you can use any kind. See, what really helped it when you mix that flour and your mayo, sour cream, and that oil in first, that helps it to get a jump start on mixing the rest together. So you had got all that in there, and they had already got incorporated and shook hands and everything. So you see this spoon here? About this size. And I'm going to be scooping my biscuits out with it. Okay, I'm going to be using the Baker's Joy on my good old faithful cookie sheet, a baking sheet. Go over here by the sink and spray this. I have to get away because those fumes from this, I'd be afraid that it'll trigger my asthma. So that's why I have to step away sometime when I spray stuff like that. Here I got this list going on with these Invisaligns in my mouth. It's getting a little bit better though. Okay, turn my oven on. You put my oven. I cook my biscuits on 400 degrees. So you see I got that pan well sprayed. I'm putting them probably about 1 inch apart. Got all of that batter on the pan. See that? Drop biscuits without all the rolling. So now I'm going to put them in a 400 degree oven. Give it just a few minutes. It's still heating up. So I had just a little bit of the batter left for the biscuits. My dough. So I'm going to put that in this little pan here. Make a few more. That was 3 extra. Okay, so the oven is ready. righty. We'll check it in a little bit. Okay, so while I'm waiting on the biscuits to bake, I'm going to go ahead and start my grits. You see them? They rising up. Okay, so the grits that I love is Jim Dandy or Quaker grits. Either one of these grits are the ones I usually like to buy. I just used the last of the Quaker, so I got to open up the Jim Dandy. It doesn't take much grits, you know, when you're just cooking it for one person, maybe about a tablespoon and a half. But when you cooking grits for multiple people, you have to cook more. So in this bowl here is probably about a cup to a cup and a half of grits. I'm going to sprinkle some salt. It's probably about a good teaspoon of salt in there. This, I'm going to add the water. Water my grits. Now I'm cooking my grits in the microwave. Start my grits out on 10 minutes. I'm starting my grits out on 10 minutes. While I wait, I drink my little juice. Okay, I'll show you what's going on in a little bit. So now you see your biscuits, when they start turning brown under the bottom, and you can touch them a little bit and it springs back up. If it pops back up when you mash it down, you know those biscuits are about done. So what I'm going to do, I need them to go ahead and brown. So I'm going to turn my broiler on. Now when you turn that broiler on, you don't turn it on and walk away too far. You have to keep in mind that that broiler is on. And you're mainly doing that to go ahead and get those biscuits brown a little bit on the top because they're pretty much done. They've been in that oven for about 12 minutes. Usually I don't even pay attention to the time, but I did it today deliberately so I can tell you all how long they were in the oven. But normally when you're cooking biscuits, when you start smelling them, if you can smell those biscuits cooking in the house, you know they're just about done. It's the same way with the cake. Now also when you're making up your biscuits, hold on. Another thing, when you're making your biscuits, you don't have to just use fresh milk. Like I was telling you about that buttermilk. Buttermilk can be out of date and you can still use it when you're making bread. I wouldn't just use it to drink or do anything else, but when you're cooking bread, out of date buttermilk is fine. Even regular milk, if it's out of date, maybe by even a week, you can still use that milk in bread. I wouldn't use it in anything else. Like my 2% milk it says that it's out of date. However, it's not, because I get milk by the half gallon and keep it in my freezer for the fact that I keep foster children, so I don't ever want to be without milk. And I usually use like 2% milk or almond milk, because some of my kids can't drink the regular cow's milk. So although it says that it's out of date on there, it's not out of date. It's good maybe for about another week. Well, okay, I just wanted to share that with you. So don't be throwing away your old buttermilk, because it's good for cornbread. It's good for your biscuits too. All right, let's see what these biscuits are doing. See those biscuits? They browning right on up. That little pan, that oil is burning around the edges. To see that? Turn that pan around. It seems to be browning more on one side. About another minute or so, and they'll be good to go. Okay, so our biscuits are all ready. So normally when you get biscuits out of the oven while they're hot, just take you a little bit of margarine. You can melt it if you please, if that's what you want to do. I melt it sometimes, but since my grits are in the microwave, that's not an option this morning. And nice and brown. If you like yours lighter, you can take them out a little sooner. They cooked in that oven for check them in about 11-12 minutes. And if you see the bottom is browning before the top, and you can mash those biscuits and they spring back up just like you would check a cake, you know that those biscuits are done. So just cut the broil on a little bit just to get them brown. These biscuits here, you can eat them by themselves. A little jam, a little honey, or a little syrup. You can cut them open and put you some meat inside. And you see, we didn't do all that rolling or anything, just some drop biscuits. Same recipe. If I was going to roll them, I would have put the same ingredients in them. See that? All ready. Got you some good old homemade biscuits. Look at that. Got a couple extras over here on the side. Throw them right on over there. Okay, let's see how it look on the inside. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? So you got you some homemade biscuits. No worries and no fuss. Now, if you don't need exactly this amount of biscuits, let me see how many did I get out of there. Got 17 biscuits. So that's a lot for 3 cups of flour. Yeah, 17, I had to recount it. So that's a lot, but if you know you don't need that many biscuits, just cut that in half, what I did. Now, you know biscuits, even if you made this amount, you can always put biscuits in the freezer and then take them out and put them in the microwave. So if you make a large amount and it's just only 1, 2, 3 people in the house, just get you some wax paper like this right here and wrap them individually in that wax paper, and then get your freezer bag and sit each biscuit individually wrapped down in that freezer bag. And when you get up in the morning or whenever you want your hot biscuit, just pop it in that microwave, or that frozen biscuit, pop it in the microwave probably about 45-50 seconds. Check it after that. But it'll be just like it was just freshly made. Okay, so that's the biscuits. I'm gonna get my grits out of the microwave and show you how I fix those, okay? Okay, so these are the grits out of the microwave. Got margarine. You put the amount of margarine that you want in there. I can't eat grits unless they have enough margarine, and I can't eat them if they're grainy. A lot of people don't like grits because they're grainy. But if you cook them long enough, it will smooth them out. So you see I'm using a fork because I'm going across the bottom, because I don't want any hard lumps in my grits. So I'm making sure with this fork. Put that margarine on in there so it can get melted down. But go through your grits. And when you go through, just mash it right up against the wall of your bowl. Get you a good microwave safe bowl. But if you like cooking them on top of the stove, that's fine too. And use the same ingredients. Good, those grits looking. We're still gonna put them back in the microwave. Okay, I'm gonna add just a dab of cheese. Usually when I'm putting something on top of my grits, I don't add cheese, but I'm not gonna add much. Maybe about a tablespoonful. And that was the Kobe Jack cheese. Now the milk. Remember, I cooked them for about 10 minutes in the beginning. I think the fork has done its job. It went around and made sure we didn't have any lumps going on in there. Nothing worse than lumpy grits. Go to the bottom of that bowl and just make circles. All right, I'm gonna put them back in the microwave. Not for long. Because I don't want it to be hard for the cleanup. Okay, put them back in the microwave probably for about 4 or 5 more minutes. Okay, so here's the finished product of the grits. So it was 10 minutes in the beginning. Then I took the grits out and added milk, margarine, and just a dab of cheese. Now, if I was gonna fix these grits with just maybe bacon and eggs, I probably would have put a little bit more cheese in there. But since I'm gonna put that seafood curry on top, I'm not putting much cheese. But now that seafood curry, I've got a video of the shrimp. I've made shrimp and crab curry yesterday morning. But this morning, it has more seafood in it, but I didn't film it from this morning. But this is the finished results of the grits. I'm going to show you my seafood curry. Get a pot over. That's the seafood curry. Yeah. I'm going to put that right on top of those grits. Has shrimp in there, crab meat, salmon, and flounder fish. Okay. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this video today. And just remember, everything that went on in this kitchen today, it was in Miss V's opinion. So you guys have a great day, and thank you for watching my video. Please, if you would, subscribe, share, and comment and like my video. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.